Rainier, doing Sermons Alright out of Kamloops, British Columbia. This is our Saturday training hall. So, we're going to continue our talk about Fiore's longsword guards. And we're going to finish it off with the guards I call the weird ones. These are guards that are not immediately apparent how they're used, but are within the system and still something that we do need to know. The very first guard we're going to talk about is another variation of posta di donna. This is what I've heard called the tall and proud guard of the woman. I usually will just shorten to posta di donna, la soprana. So, similarly to where we were before, sword on our shoulder, this time we're going to raise up our arms. It's a rear-weighted stance. Our opponent would be over in that direction. Rear-weighted stance with the arms raised up, the sword hanging down behind our back, almost straight up and down. People tend to have two different ways of doing this. They either look under the arm or over the arm. I've got to say, I prefer the underarm version. The original text is a little ambiguous as about what it is. The art style can only portray so much. The reason why this is one of the weird guard positions is because it seems to be very vulnerable. And it's very, very rare that you will ever see someone use this in, especially tournaments, but even just basic sparring. It's very rare that you'll see even dedicated Fiorists use this position. And I have a theory on that. I suspect, because one of the primary uses of this position is to deliver big honking cuts downwards, that we don't necessarily have the correct fear of what the sword can do. When we're fighting with each other, even in tournaments, we are trying not to hurt each other, as opposed to trying to injure or kill each other, as is the potential back when sword fights were a more common thing. So, from up here, it has a lot of power for delivering downward cuts. You can use your entire body weight to get behind it. It delivers cuts with a lot of power, and it does have to be used cautiously. And because we don't fear the sword as much, you won't see it as much. I do like to try to break it out every now and then to kind of keep the system complete, so to speak. So, once again, posta di donna, the high version, if you will. Yeah, that's about all that needs to be said on that. Next, we have what at first doesn't seem like an overly strange position. It's curulunga, the long-tailed guard, with the sword out behind us as though it were a long tail. Shocking, I know. The reason why this falls in the category of the weird ones is because we have our iron gate position as well. It would seem to make this one redundant. All you really seem to be doing is bringing your sword farther away from a defensive line. However, again, can allow us to deliver a little extra power. It's also a really great position for when you're cutting through to it and you don't have to abort the action of your sword and risk the edge line coming off as you come down. You can slice all the way through and allow the sword to twist behind you instead of when the blade is still in front of you. Position once again, super, super simple. It's just hanging behind you. Next, we have dente a cinghiara mezzana, the half boar's tooth. We have our boar's tooth position, and then we're just going to turn it into our rear-weighted guard. This one is really, really great for when you want to sucker someone in to attacking you. It will not necessarily work as well against more experienced fighters. You get to a certain level of experience and you very quickly realize that even if you don't know the position, you know it's a trap, and so you're not going to enter into it. But really, really like this position. Again, we have our cinghiara position, dente a cinghiara, with the sword out beside us on our left-hand side in our forward-weighted position. All we're doing is turning our feet in our volta stabile and keeping our sword in more or less the same place. What this position is really great for is catching oncoming attacks. We can very quickly come in to defend against a thrust. We can deflect a cut. It's slightly weaker position when we're trying to use it offensively, as many rear-weighted positions are. However, if you can make it work for you, fantastic. I generally, if I'm going to be here, I'm waiting for the other person to come in and do something and give me an opening, which pretty much any attack will do so. It's a great position. It can cover any incoming line. Really, really awesome. Final guard position is, again, this one is very, very strange. I'm going to get nice and close because the hand position is very odd. If we start in our post lunga position, we roll it in, the rear hand comes kind of cupping over top of the pommel. This is called bicornu, or the two-horned guard. I like doing it with the cross guard vertical like that. I have known other people to do it horizontal. I don't find it to be as strong in this position, but I've heard some very convincing arguments on either side. This is what works for me. One of the wonderful things about this art is different interpretations can all be equally valid. It may not be the way it was properly done back in the day, but as long as it works for me personally, that's the most important thing. If someone comes along and shows me that the horizontal position is superior and can explain properly why and convince me of it, I will happily change my mind. For now, cross guard vertical, pommel right into sort of that little divot at the bottom of your rib cage, rear hand cupped over top. To get there, roll it in. We're bringing our thumb from the inside to the outside, bring it here. I'm going to do a lot of explanation for this because it takes practice to get into this position, and it's a weird guard position. Fiore, I believe, mentions on this one that it's better done in armor, and I can certainly see that. One of the ways I will use it is to really apply a lot of force and leverage against an opponent's blade. We are shortening our lever by bringing the sword into our body, and with their sword blade underneath ours, we can provide a lot of pressure, a lot of control over their weapon. There are some dangers inherent in this. Because the sword is close to our body, it's not providing as much protection as the extended positions are, but we are sacrificing some passive cover, if you will, for control over their weapon, so hopefully we don't need it. Again, probably better to be done in armor, but we will cover armor fencing sometime far in the future when me and at least one of my students actually has a more or less full set of armor. Armor's expensive. Anyway, so those four positions are, again, another variation of post di donna. We have our corolonga. We have dente asciugara, mezzana. We have bicornu. For some reason today, this guard name is just not sticking in my head. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you, and until next time.